When a community knows that they can call and get a positive experience, there's a lot more trust built. The power is in your hand as the caller, as the person in need, and that's really the most important piece. My name is Megan. I'm a behavioral crisis responder with Canopy Roots in the city of Minneapolis.
I did not ever want to call the police for any mental health stuff because it hasn't always been helpful in the past. My name is Crystal. My experience with BCR has been with my oldest daughter. There were just kind of some outbursts that were happening at first, just periods of sadness that would turn quickly into anger. There was also some issues with self-harm and just thoughts that were not healthy. I wasn't able to bring her down.
The last time I called is when I had a psychosis breakdown.
My partner and I arrived to Crystal and her daughter. Crystal, the mother, was in the kitchen, and my partner tended more to her, and I went towards her daughter, who was in her bedroom, secluded. She was on her bed, and she had kind of blackout drapes all around her bed. So when I first came in, I announced who I was.
They were really good at their job, especially in that moment in time, because it was probably one of the hardest moments of my life.
Eventually, she was able to open the curtains for me, but we had one rule, and it was that I couldn't look at her, and I said, that's fine. So I stayed looking at something next to her or the ground and kept her on my peripheral so that we could talk.
They knew when to give space, and they knew my boundaries, and they were really respectful with that.
Everybody has their own story, and you have to meet people where they're at. I was blown away by them meeting my daughter where she was at.
She was experiencing what we call auditory hallucinations. Eventually, I learned that Molly was the voice that she was hearing. We were able to talk about why Molly might be happening.
They're really good at talking about it in a way that makes you feel like you're being heard.
One of the great things about valuing autonomy is that I'm able to talk through all of these options, but I'm allowing her daughter to decide her own care at that point. So it was really an open conversation of, you're the one experiencing this. This is what I see, and this is what I think, but I want to hear from you what would be the most helpful for you.
I went into inpatient. That helped me go into another program for my drug use.
Seeing my daughter being empowered to make a decision for herself, it saved my family and got us to the next step.
I've been sober for, 5 or 6 months now, and I'm very, very proud of myself for that.
Part of the BCR and a crisis responder is being able to see someone in front of you for the human that they are.
You just feel like a human with them.
I just felt really seen as a human being.
This should just be in every city.
A program like the BCR is extremely beneficial when it comes to decriminalizing mental illness and destigmatizing mental health.
It's a extension of this community care that I don't think is present in a lot of places that needs to be, that we see mental health as just as important as our physical health. If you had a broken arm, you'd call the ambulance. If you're having a hard time mentally, call BCR.